What's going on, everybody? So a lot of people have been calling Charlie Kirk racist, a white supremacist, and all of the talking points that they use seem to be taken out of context, or it seems that they didn't really take the time to listen what he was saying, whether it was about his comments about civil rights, the DEI, with the black pilots, and a couple of other things. So we're going to just address some of it, and I'm going to just show you in real time some of the clips in context after we look at these disgusting clips of Jamal Bryant, Jemele Hill, and Detrick Haddon responding to Charlie Kirk's death and how they decided to talk about it. And I'm not going to lie, when I looked at the clip that somebody sent me of Jamal Bryant, I was like, okay, not surprised that this would be his stance. But then when I went to his actual page and clicked on the video, I thought that the video that someone had sent me was AI, and so, I wanted to fact check, and I'm watching the video. I'm like, okay, it seems like Jamal Bryant, he's saying, hey, that, the killing was wrong. And he started off kind of good, and then it just went left. Like he kind of tacked something on the end. And then, of course, with Lecrae, you guys know I already addressed that earlier. He's had so much to say about everything else, but when it comes to this, he says, I got to process. No, the truth is you're trying to check in with the culture and the rest of your buddies because you don't want the world to be offended. You never take a stance that's going to make the world upset with you. And so, and this is a perfect example why all of these people, Jamal Bryant, Detrick Haddon, Jemele Hill, and many like them, right? The culture, and we talk about culture Christianity versus kingdom Christianity and how people put culture over kingdom. Well, their narrative is, I don't feel sorry for Charlie Kirk. A lot of them are saying that in the culture, right? Why should I feel sorry for uh, a white supremacist? Why should I feel bad for a racist? Right. And then they'll talk about that, but then not acknowledge that there's evil people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Now, I saw some comments, people are trying to argue, well, it was a Republican who shot another Republican. Listen, I just can't believe how crazy people are. First of all, I'll give you a quick short summary. Someone who did not agree with Charlie Kirk's perspectives and talking points killed him. And then people who also didn't agree with Charlie Kirk's perspectives and talking points celebrated their counterpart who killed him. Now, you could say whatever party he's from, whatever. People say, oh, he was from a MAGA family. Okay, look at Magic Johnson's son. Magic Johnson loved women. His son clearly don't. You can be in a family and come out and rebel. And now there's reports coming out that this guy who they got as the shooter had a trans roommate or girlfriend. It's a developing story. Everybody's reporting it now. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. You don't shoot people for disagreeing with you. Bottom line. But this is one of those videos that there's really, the delusion out there is scary. The delusion out there is scary. He wasn't racist. He was a white supremacist. Okay, tell me why. And when they tell me why, I'm like, you took that out of context. You didn't listen to the whole clip, or you didn't comprehend what he was saying. And so I'm going to go through some of those clips. Excuse me. I still got some kind of congestion in my chest from when I was sick. But we're going to go through the clips after we play the clips of these other people. All right. Let's get into it. Let me share my screen with you guys. And right off the bat, I'm going to play a clip that doesn't really need any explanation. Now, there might be a little bit of cussing in some of these, but in this first clip, you're going to hear this is one reason they hated him, because he was simply stating a fact, but it'll help you understand his perspective when it comes to some of the things that he was saying about government and black families and how, black families are broken up because of the government. And he explains that. And then my favorite is when he talks about the DEI with the NBA and the NFL, and he talks about what if the NFL was like, hey, we got too many black people, we need to be more diverse. And so it's mandatory, only this amount of black people, we're going to start bringing in a bunch of white people. And he asked, would the quality of play in the NFL go down? And I thought that was just excellent. So clearly he's brilliant. Let's play it.
God bless this man. Somebody had to say it.
So we have spent $30 trillion on the social welfare system since 1965. Black people are poorer, and the single motherhood went from 25% to now 75 to 80%. So the more money we've spent on Black America, the less fathers we have, because Black women divorced Black men and married the government. I'm sorry if
That's not racist. I think Dr. Umar be talking like that. There's a lot of Black leaders who be talking about that. How the government, with all of their programs, almost make it appealing, especially to break up the Black home. I mean, families in general, because it's like, hey, leave leave your husband and we'll be that baby's father. We'll take care of you. And they make it very appealing to break up homes. All right. Now here's the other the DEI flight stuff. Let's listen to this.
I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the
you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that
who
before.
I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
So that's what he said, right? That's what they're talking about. But you have to listen to the context behind why he's saying what he's saying. Right there, yes. When you just hear the clip and you don't understand, you don't hear the explanation, right? You heard what that guy said. This is the world that the leftists created because of what they're doing. And if you listen to that and you don't try to listen to the explanation, which you could look up, which I'm about to show you for yourself, it makes sense what he's saying. Let's play it.
Yeah, you said something about DEI, unqualified Black pilots. You see a pilot on a Black pilot. Don't you think it was an irresponsible statement suggesting that maybe these pilots aren't qualified or unqualified?
No, but I'll tell you exactly what I said and why I said it.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, the pretext, I went through a whole windup. I said, United Airlines is saying that they want 40% of all their pilots to be people of color or women. We have learned that we have relaxed standards anytime that we try to reach racial quotas. Anytime we reach racial quotas, we relax the standards. Standards for air traffic control, professors, or college admissions. Therefore, when it comes to pilots or surgeons, if I see somebody who is Black, as I said on the show, I'm going to hope that person is qualified. That's what I said, which of course is legitimate, because they're begging the question, we're not hiring based on merit anymore. We're hiring based on race. Now, so when you see a Black pilot, you wonder, boy, is that person there because they earned it or because they were placed there? Now the NBA is 75% Black.
Pretty much he's saying the only reason he's thinking that is because of what they're saying, which of course will be the same thing with a woman pilot. Is this a DEI hire? Now, if you still don't get it, and you still don't understand, and you're saying, nah, he's just saying this because he's racist, watch this next clip, because I think this is the checkmate right here explanation.
Because they earned it or because they were placed there. Now the NBA is 75% Black. If all of a sudden the NBA said, we want more diversity, it's too Black. Yeah, right? Because we want to have more diversity. Right. And they would say, we're not allowed to have any more than 30% of the NBA be Black. Would the quality of the NBA go down?
The quality of the NBA, arguably right now, yeah, I would. But
notice how easy it was for him to say that. No backlash, right? Pretty much, if the NBA was like, we've got too many Black people, not enough white people, we need to bring a mandatory amount of white people into the NBA, would the quality of play go down? He says, yes, it would go down, because Black people are typically better at playing basketball than white people. It's just a fact.
We want to have more diversity. Right. And they would say, we're not allowed to have any more than 30% of the NBA be Black. Would the quality of the NBA go down?
The quality of the NBA, arguably right now, yeah, I would. But
so half of I think you can see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no,
half of the NFL is Black. Yeah. If all of a sudden, Roger Goodell, if he came, he's like, hey, diversity is our strength. Right. We're only going to say 30% of the NFL is Black. You would have other unqualified white people that would then get positions in the NFL, and the quality of play would slip. Right. So you get the argument. Yeah. You then extrapolate that to other walks of life. Right. You think to yourself, let's just hire the best. Yeah. And the NFL does hire the best.
It should be the best, no
totally.
Matter what the thing is color. Like. But I don't think there should be restrictions to anybody. As long as you're good at what you do, it doesn't really matter.
I agree.
All right. Well, then we stand in agreement then.
Who doesn't understand those first two? All right, what he said about Black homes being broken up because the government, is coming in like, hey, we'll give you all this money, ladies. We'll give you food stamps. And he talked about, he had the numbers, how much the government has spent, right? And talking about what a lot of Black people have been talking about. It's almost appealing for that woman to say, hey, you know what? Get out my house. I'm gonna let the government come in and take care of us. we've been talking about that forever, but just because he's white, they want to say he's racist. The thing with the DEI pilots, what is so hard to understand about that? The NBA, NFL explanation that he gave, it's simple, right? If you say we have to have this many, that means that there is possible that there's going to be someone who's more qualified who doesn't get the opportunity because of that. And everybody gets, upset about that until he so cleverly brought up that NBA example. If the NBA is like, we need to be more diverse, we need more white people, we need more this, we need people of different height, we don't want to discriminate, we just want to let everybody in, the quality of play would go down. Nothing racist about that. Now let's take a look at this clip, because this is one of the most aggressive ones that people took out of context, because Charlie looked, pretty angry. He's pretty much usually very level-headed, but right here it looked like he was, ready to knock somebody's block off. And people were saying that he used a racist slur in this clip, right? They took a little part of it and they didn't get the whole context.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank.
Let's start with the most vicious video where Kirk is racially profiling the Asian man in the audience by calling him a chink.
You're trying to attack me, which is ridiculous, like asking me what my salary is. Sure, I'll reveal it willingly.
You brought it up in context. I'm asking, why don't you live like a socialist?
Okay.
Go live like a socialist.
The point is larger than that, Charlie.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Shank.
Guys.
I live as a capitalist, okay? I live when I believe.
No.
What do? I get charity every single year.
Hold on.
What's my salary? Less than his.
Charlie,
come on, Shank, let's go.
Charlie, what are you doing?
Last night, Haas and Charlie Kirk were debating, and he asked a question that I thought was out of bounds. He asked what Haas's salary was. Haas wound up answering him, bless his heart. And so I had a simple question. Well, what's your salary, Charlie?
Bro's first name is Chink. Chank, however you pronounce it, bro. Bro's first name is Chank. I don't even say anything else.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. And that's what I'm talking about. So we just went through about 3-4 clips right there, and you see it. People running around, he used the racial slur. That's the man's name. Let's get into this, because I don't want this video to be too long. Let's get into what Detrick had to say here.
Detrick here. In my travels, I had the chance to really process my thoughts on the Charlie Kirk, I want to say assassination, devastation. It's all bad. My heart goes out to his family and all his supporters and all those young people who witnessed that firsthand in real time. We're praying for your minds, praying for your peace. Nobody should have to experience that, to see someone that you come to see and for whatever reason, and to see them slaughtered is not good. But there's a lot of lessons to be
All right, here we go. Same thing like Jamal Bryant. Sounded like, okay, that's cool, but here we go.
Extracted from this situation. The first lesson I want to say is life and death is in the power of your tongue. And I've seen so many clips of him having strong opinions about things. And one,
remember, people kept saying that he brought it on himself, live by the sword, die by the sword. This is essentially what Detrick is saying. Listen.
Particular opinion, he said, that some casualties is necessary for gun laws, and I'm sure he never thought that he would be one of the casualties. And so it teaches me and all of us to not be so loose with your words. We're all in this together. And I don't think it's wise to marginalize any group. I know one thing, I'm a black man. I'm a highly intelligent, smart, successful black man. I don't want to hear anybody discrediting any pilot just because he's black and labeling him.
So you see right there, we already addressed that at the beginning of the video. Detrick, you're wrong. That's not what he was doing. You should do your research before you open your mouth. Now, this second comment that he's making, I'm going to play the whole clip. I just wanted you to hear what Detrick had to say first, because this second clip is one of the main ones that people are using against Charlie Kirk and using it against him.
Yeah, these are the things that's a part of his legacy. Be that as it may, we're all forever growing. We're all evolving.
All right.
Related to Second Amendment rights, we saw
saying amen to you and patting you on your.
Austin, I just had a question related to Second Amendment rights. We saw the shooting that happened recently, and a lot of people are upset. But I'm seeing people argue for the other side that they want to take our Second Amendment rights away. How do we convince them that it's important to have the right to defend ourselves? And
this is the main thing that people have been taken out of context. Open your ears and listen.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. So I'm a big Second Amendment fan, but I think most politicians are cowards when it comes to defending why we have a Second Amendment. This is why I would not be a good politician. Or maybe I would, I don't know. But because I actually speak my mind. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. I love hunting. The Second Amendment is not even about personal defense. That is important. The Second Amendment is there, God forbid, so that you can defend yourself against a tyrannical government.
Come on.
And if that talk scares you, wow, that's radical, Charlie. I don't know about that. Well, then you have not really read any literature of our founding fathers. Number two, you've not read any 20th century history. You're just living in Narnia. By the way, if you're actually living in Narnia, you would be wiser than wherever you're living, because C.S. Lewis was really smart. So I don't know what alternative universe you're living in. You just don't want to face reality that governments tend to get tyrannical, and that if people need an ability to protect themselves and their communities and their families. Now, we must also be real. We must be honest with the population. Having an armed citizenry comes with a price. And that is part of liberty.
Wow.
Driving.
Please open your ears and really listen.
Comes with a price. 50,000 people die on the road every year. Wow. That's a price. You get rid of driving, you have 50,000 less auto fatalities. But we have decided that the benefit of driving, speed, accessibility, mobility, having products, services, is worth the cost of 50,000 people dying on the road.
This is the part that people keep leaving out. That part right there. He's just showing an example that, look, there's a lot of car accidents that happen as well. But we don't say, hey, nobody should drive anymore because there's car accidents. And so we've accepted the fact that there's going to be car accidents, but that doesn't mean, right? Unfortunately, there's going to be car accidents, and we know that, but it's not like, oh, well, let's just stop everybody from driving cars. And then they play the next part without playing this part.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen. Right. You can significantly reduce them. They're having more fathers in the home, yes, by having more armed guards in front of schools. We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But
So hopefully you get it. For the sake of time, I'm gonna just go forward to Jamal Bryant.
Only a racist mourns the death of a bigot, and only a fascist will celebrate a white extremist and make him a martyr. Even in death, we cannot sanitize the racial slurs that have been spewed and have been spoken.
All right, so I'm gonna go play the whole thing. We talked about, right, and I'm gonna mute this. We talked about what he said about black families, right, and how the government is breaking up the home. We talked about the DEI pilot thing, how all he was pretty much saying is, and I'll use the NBA, NFL example again, if the NBA was like, hey, we got too many black players, we need some white players, he was like, the quality of NBA play would go down because now you're taking away positions from the people who are best, qualified to play. Nothing racist about that. It's just a fact. Now, some people talk about what he said about the civil rights, but essentially what he was saying about the civil rights, right, was pretty much how, how we've talked about how the LGBTQ tries to piggyback off of the civil rights movement, and they try to liken their movement to the civil rights movement. And so he, kind of talks about how it's kind of like it set it up for the DEI and stuff. Pretty much all he was saying is, if anything, there maybe should be a way to refine it or maybe change it and look at it, because you got all these people coming in, you got the feminists coming in, you got the LGBTQ coming in, and they think that what they got going on is equal to what black people had in the civil rights movement. And so now we've got this DEI. It's not just that they want to hire black people, they want you to hire trans people, gay people, women, all that kind of stuff. And what he was saying is, this is kind of a mess. Maybe we got to change it, fix it. It wasn't racist. It's just the reality of what it is. Now I'm going to go into my Instagram for the sake of time. And like I said, the only reason, I had put, man, this was so good. I'm going to play this one more time though. I'm going to play this part one more time because
placed there. Now the NBA is 75% black. If all of a sudden the NBA said, we want more diversity, it's too black.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want to have more diversity.
Right.
And they would say, we're not allowed to have any more than 30% of the NBA be black. Would the quality of the NBA go down?
The quality of the NBA, arguably right now, yeah, it would. But
so half of I think you can see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no,
half of the NFL is black.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden, Roger Goodell, if he came, he's like, hey, diversity is our strength.
Right.
We're only going to say 30% of the NFL is black. You would have other unqualified white.
Now, notice how people want to believe what they want to believe. Now people are in the comments saying, you're not really covering some of the real racist things. These are the biggest things we've seen people saying on the internet. And I told y'all was taking it out of context. You see how they always try to move the goalposts? I only went and pulled the stuff that I saw all over the internet. Now I'm going to play I put this in my inbox because I wasn't able to upload it. Let's play her.
The reason he was labeled a white supremacist is because he believed in the superiority of white people, which is why he said that he would be concerned if he saw a black pilot, which is why he said that he questioned the brain processing of brilliant minds such as Joy Ann Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson, because he ultimately believed in the superiority of white people. So I don't think I'm being insensitive by bringing that up. And the only reason I feel like I even need to bring that up is because of the counter narrative that is establishing itself. And that's the problem with history and the problem with receipts, is that you can't erase the receipts. You can't, I learned this.
But you can clearly do what she looks crazy in her eyes. Now, let me get this one comment right here. Somebody said, not a great comparison. So hiring more blacks would bring the quality of the industry down. No, what they're saying, right? And look, notice how you only singled out blacks, but we mentioned LGBTQ, right? They would say, no, you need to hire some LGBTQ people. Nope, you need to hire some women. And the point is, why don't we just hire the person that's best for the job? That's the argument. The same thing with the NBA. Why don't we just get the best people in the NBA, the best basketball players? NFL, why don't we just get the best NFL players? And so he's saying that clearly black people are better at these things. He's just using it as an example. It doesn't matter if it's white, black, female, just hire the best person for the job. That's all he's saying. That is not racist. And he's saying, I guess you probably came in late because you didn't hear the explanation as far as like the black pilot thing, because they're telling you that we're going to do this. Now you're looking and it's like, did you hire this person because they were actually the most qualified? Or did you hire this person because they were DEI? Right? To be honest, I told y'all how I felt about Kamala Harris. Right. And people got mad about that when people were saying she was a DEI hire. She was the Hillary Clinton replacement. Think about it. Nobody voted for her. They selected her. That's exactly what it was. They told you she's going to be your candidate. And when you look at the primary, she did horrible against all of the other Democrats. When she was actually running against Biden, she did horrible against Bernie. She had the lowest numbers out of all the Democrats that were running. But then she got to be Biden's vice president, and what they did, they didn't vote. They didn't take your vote. They just said, nope, we're going to move Biden out the way, and we're going to push Kamala Harris to the front. She was not the best Democrat candidate. It's just a fact, and that's all he's saying. So that's what they're doing at a lot of these. We're gonna put this person there because we've got this quota to make. I don't know what's so hard to understand about that. That's actually possibility, and it's a good thing to have a conversation about. Now, let me go back to Jamal Bryant real quick. Like I said, he started good.
On yesterday, sorrowfully, America had the front row seat to see how violence in America has gotten out of hand. To see the death and the murder in broad daylight on the campus of higher learning is absolutely egregious. And all the more for that murder to take place in the presence of a wife and two young children is absolutely disgusting. This is a moment where we've got to watch as well as pray. Frederick Douglass said, I got more prayers answered when I got off my knees. So my heart grieves not just for that wife and those 2 children, but my heart grieves for America because violence has become common. And this is a critical time for legislators to reevaluate and re-examine why our gun laws have gone forth unchecked. Ladies and gentlemen, I am inundated as you are about thoughts and prayers. And we've got to extend beyond that to pray for all of the forms of violence and how it has reared its ugly head in America. You've got to pray because violence doesn't just come from guns and from closed fists. The violence that is being perpetuated is something that we cannot ignore in a time that America needs to pause. Only a racist mourns the death of a bigot, and only a fascist will celebrate a white extremist and make him a martyr. Even in death, we cannot sanitize the racial slurs that have been spewed and have been spoken. So we've got to pray. Yes, we got to pray.
So you see, he started good, and so I'm thinking the video that somebody sent me, I'm like, oh, well, maybe Jamal Bryant, he's saying the right things, but then at the end, he goes into slandering Charlie Kirk, based off, the same information that this Jemele Hill and Detrick Haddon. They're just wrong. That you've seen the clips that we played are the clips that they're referencing, and when you saw the clips for yourself, you see that they're taking it out of context. Clearly, they didn't go watch it. If they did watch it, then that means that they just want to believe what they want to believe. So they don't love the truth anyway. They all reference the DEI. They all reference the pilot. They all reference that. A lot of them were referencing the necessary death. And we played all of the clips, and you see it wasn't racist. And so that's the problem that we have in the culture. People feel this loyalty to the culture over truth. And that's why I made this video about what Lecrae had to say. Okay, this is Lecrae's response to Charlie Kirk's death.
On my DMs asking me to have some commentary about what's going on, and people are knocking on my DMs asking me to have some commentary about what's going on in America right now. I'm in Africa, by the way. And here's my thing. I'm slow to speak because I'm trying to process. And part 2 is there are people much smarter than me, much more articulate. I'm not that narcissistic to feel like I have to have the leading voice on everything that's going on in America. I can silently process this or process it with people that I love and people that I know. I do not have to share with the entire world the stuff that's going on up in here. But if you want to know what's going up in here, let me tell you a little bit of what's going up in here. We keep on trying to solve our differences and our grievances with violence and murder. Since the beginning of time, since Cain and Abel, this is what we do. This is what we freaking do. And Jesus comes and says, it's not the way. As a Jesus follower, I'm tired of it, man. Like, it's not the way. It solves nothing. It solves nothing. But that's it.
Man, is this y'all king? We're not falling for it, Lecrae. Because you got something to say about everything as long as it's something that the world is not going to cancel you for. Remember when you was out there with the Warnock and the Black Square? You've had a lot to say about a lot of different things, who we should vote for and things like that through the years, but you only take the side and the stance where the world is not going to reject you and the world is not going to get upset with you. And so now you come on here like you upset because people are looking to you, right? All these Christians that have supported you, help you get your platform, they're looking for you to use your platform to speak out. And now it's, I'm not a narcissist. I don't feel like I got to be the first one. Nah, bro, we not falling for that. You cowardly. You only going to take a stance for things that the world is going to celebrate you for. That's why you can't take a hard stance on LGBTQ, abortion. So you could go watch that clip if you want, but I'm going to wind this video down because we're having a church barbecue. Everybody's downstairs. I'm going to go down there. My point with Lecrae, and to tie it in with everybody else, is so the culture is saying, hey, this dude was a racist. I just went through all the main clips. Now, you know what people are going to do? They're going to watch this video. They're going to move the goalposts. I specifically went and grabbed the videos that I saw everybody, or the quotes everybody was throwing around on the internet saying that he was a racist. I grabbed the whole clip, brought the context. Wrong. Now they're going to say, man, you weren't playing all the clips. These are the main ones that you saw people talking about on the internet. If you think Charlie Kirk is racist, you're an idiot, period. And I know, oh, man, you're supposed to be a pastor. You talking like, hey, the Bible calls people fools, whatever, because it's like you're choosing to just believe what you want to believe, which means you probably got some weird racism or some kind of hate in your heart. The same stuff that y'all was doing with Trump, right? Trump is racist. He was with Jesse Jackson, all them people back in the day. Black people loved him. Oprah loved him. But all of a sudden, because he decided to run Republican, they told you, oh, this man is a racist, and y'all just believe it and still don't got no evidence. All the examples y'all use when y'all say, Trump said this about illegals and Trump said this about hate, it's always out of context. Always. It's just a fact. And so Lecrae, he can't just say, hey, man, we shouldn't be celebrating, even if he don't want to address everything, he can't even just get on the, hey, to celebrate Charlie Kirk being assassinated, that's not okay. He can't use his platform, but he'll use it for everything. Racism is bad, all the stuff you see him, Kaepernick, George Floyd, everything. But on this, man, I got to process it. Nah, bro, we know you're afraid of the culture. You're afraid of getting canceled. You're afraid of T.I. and all them secular artists that you be working with to be offended if you were to speak the truth. And that's why this is a problem. That's why I got to make videos like this, because a lot of y'all, you just believe in lies, and you've been doing it. Y'all was wrong about COVID. Y'all was wrong about Trump. Y'all was wrong about the Russia collusion. Y'all was wrong about the vaccinations. Y'all was wrong about Fauci. What else? There's been so many other things that, like, the media told y'all one thing and y'all ended up being wrong. And that's why I make videos like this, and why do I always tell y'all, do y'all own research. And to be honest, it's the same thing what Charlie Kirk was doing as far as when he would go to these campuses, he was dealing with delusion. People that just believe, like, oh, a man can have a period. Oh, a man can get pregnant. Oh, like, just believing crazy stuff because the university brainwashed them, right? And so he was challenging their perspective through dialogue and having respectful conversation. A lot of you need to learn to have those conversations within yourself when you're presented some information. When somebody says, hey, Charlie Kirk is racist, Charlie Kirk is this, you can't just run with it because you heard part of a clip. That perfect example was the one where he did get mad and he called that guy by his first name and people said he used the racist slur. No, that was literally the dude's first name. It's crazy. But the truth of the matter is, people are ugly and they want to believe what they want to believe because they want to be justified for the hatred and the bitterness that's in their heart. I've learned that through the years. Like, people want to demonize me. People say some real ugly, evil stuff about me on the internet. And then, people have lied about me about women, or just crazy. There was a time people were saying he don't believe Jesus is God. That's bad, but I've had worse things said about my character, right? And then I'll look at these Christians and they'll be like, yeah, Marcus, for example, Marcus is a Freemason. I've made so many videos calling out Freemasonry, so many teachings speaking against it, talking about how it's demonic. And then, what's so crazy? They'll say Marcus is bad because he's a Freemason, but then y'all listening to these Christian artists and preachers that are in these demonic fraternities, and they don't have the same energy for their favorite Christian artist and pastor who's in the demonic fraternity, but they've got a different type of energy towards me, and they want to believe that I'm a Freemason, because the truth of the matter is they just don't like the things that I'm saying because they feel convicted, or it goes against their ideologies. So they have to demonize me. So I'm very familiar with this. Same thing that they do to Charlie Kirk. We don't like that you're speaking truth. It makes us mad. So now we got to say you're a racist. This was the basic plan when they put Obama, as president and had him push the LGBTQ agenda. That was strategic. Let's have the first black president sign all this LGBTQ stuff and push it. And then anybody who has anything negative to say, we'll just say, hey, you don't like black people. No, I don't like the agenda that you're pushing. It's not, oh, Obama, I don't like you because you're black. I don't like what you're doing. It's all part of the game. But listen, you don't gotta agree with me. It don't matter. You can feel whatever you want to feel. But I hope this video shows you, right? If you was one of those people in that delusion, to pray about everything, to study everything for yourself. Do your research for yourself. Because a lot of you gonna get led astray. Like even what I'm saying, don't just take my word for it. Go pull up the clips that we just played and go look at it for yourself. And that's the problem. People just be going with stuff because, well, the culture said it. Oops, CNN said it. The media said it. So-and-so said it. I don't take anybody's word for anything. That's why even when the person sent me the clip for Jamal Bryant, I went to Jamal Bryant's page and I clicked it for myself. You gotta do your own research. Love y'all. Be blessed. Be encouraged. Have a wonderful day in Jesus' name. www.marcusrogersministries.org. If you want to support what we're doing here in Chicago, go stream that Deeper Waters 3. It's going crazy, doing good numbers, got a lot of good feedback. I'm going to go downstairs and enjoy this barbecue with the church. I think we're getting ready to watch a movie tonight. So y'all have a blessed and wonderful evening. If you got any prayer requests, feel free to put it in the comments. God bless.